Hey everyone, this is Tanner here, and welcome back to another episode of the Man to Man Coverage Podcast. Today I'm joined with my good friend Mason,
What's up, guys?
and we are doing episode here. It's been a while, but we are back. We'll be doing our top 10 QBs for this upcoming season. This will be on YouTube, Spotify, and so much more. And hopefully, y'all stay around, unlike Cam Newton on the Patriots. Anyways,
Oh no.
Mason, before we get into today's topic of the top 10, what was your thoughts on Cam Newton getting released by the Patriots?
I think it was probably because you know, Bill Belichick probably told him that they're starting with Mac, and he probably asked for his release, and the Patriots granted him that wish so he could play somewhere else. But I was kind of surprised by it because, like, I don't know, I felt like it would have been better if Cam probably played the first couple weeks and transition Mac Jones better because Cam Newton actually looked really good in the preseason. So did
Mhm.
Mac Jones, but Mac Jones is also just a rookie, so it's always a concern. But Bill thinks he has his guys, so he's gonna roll with them.
I'm excited for Mac Jones. I loved him out of college. He has great pocket movement, great accuracy, just smarts for the game, has that confidence. I feel like that he really took command of the field. And I feel like that he plays a lot like Tom Brady in the Patriots. I like it. They're going with the guy. It might not take them to the playoffs, but at least they're confident, and that can go a lot. People upset. Listen, I like Cam Newton, but I feel like that this eliminates the competition. Hopefully, Cam goes somewhere else and gets a job, but I just don't think it was for the Patriots. So, I mean, the Jaguars traded away Gardner Minshew to the Eagles, which is just like a perfect fit. When you have a starter who's a rookie, you don't really want any competition. So, um, yeah. So going here for top 10, Mason. What I'm gonna do is want to go for your top 10. I'll say you can say why you have them there, and then I'll say my reaction, and I'll do my top 10. So starting at number 10, who do you have?
I'll go with one honorable mention because I feel like this is the hardest part is picking like the 10th player. My honorable mention is Baker Mayfield. He's at my 11th. Really close to making my top 10. Just need to see a little bit more out of him, but for what I saw last year, huge improvements. I think he could crack the top 10 very easily. In the first couple weeks of the season, he could just ball out and be like, all right, that's the top 10 quarterback. But starting with number 10, I have Justin Herbert. He's in a lot of people's top 10s. He's around that 10 mark. I just really loved what I saw from him last year. Massive arm, great deep ball accuracy. I think he's just got so much big play potential, and he was only a rookie last year, and he broke pretty much every single rookie record. So yeah, he was an absolute beast last year. I think he has a slight edge over Baker just because I like his big playability a little bit more, but I think Baker has a way better, or not way better, he has better accuracy in that middle game and short game. But yeah, I just love Herbert's ability to sling the rock.
Yeah, I like Baker Mayfield has an honorable mention. He gets a lot of hate, which I don't get because, like, coming out, everyone loved him, and now they don't. I feel like he has the easiest job. I'm like, Mahomes is playing with all this talent, right? I never like, oh, this wide receiver is great because they have this quarterback, or oh, this team around makes this person. There has to be a tandem, right? It has to be quarterback throwing a great ball and the person catching it. So I really like Mayfield. I think he's really good at the play action game. Herbert, I like at 10. He's hard to kind of tell because I think I have Herbert in my top 10. Yeah, I think I do, but the thing with Herbert is just that he has all those great highlight plays, but there are some moments where the inconsistencies. You're just hoping he can clean up year two. But I have him in fantasy. I feel like he's gonna be a gunslinger, and I'm excited to see him in year two. So I like that for 10.
Yeah. What you said about Baker Mayfield too, just like talking quickly about it. I mean, you look at every great quarterback, they're going to have an amazing weapon. Rodgers has Adams. Mahomes has great weapons. Wilson has DK Metcalf. Allen has Diggs. So it's like I don't know. I don't really like the argument that the people around him make him good. It's like he works with what he's got. Like why would he not play good? I mean, it's like I don't know. It's just a dumb argument to say that he's only good because of the people around him. But hopping into my ninth, ninth, I had Matthew Stafford. I think Stafford. He's kind of hard for me to rank as well, but I definitely want him to have him in my top 10. I say he's hard to rank just because we've seen what he's done with the Lions, and it's like I think he can definitely have a career year this year. I just have no idea because I really haven't seen anything, any winning with him. That's literally none of his fault, pretty much, though. It's pretty much all the Lions organization. They really haven't set him up with success. But I definitely want to have Stafford in here just because his arm talent is immaculate. I mean, you see the Mahomes throws that he makes. Stafford does those too. They're just not posted all over social media like Mahomes are, or Rodgers or anything like that. He's very criminally underrated in my opinion. But yeah, he's got a fantastic offense with Sean McVay. I think he's gonna do really great this year.
Yeah, a lot of people have Stafford and Herbert close in their list, which I can see because Herbert's almost like a younger Stafford. So I like that placement for Matthew Stafford. I have him a bit high in mine. Um, I think that's a great spot. I also think with the whole Mahomes social media, I could see Mahomes kind of becoming the LeBron James of football, where he gets hated a lot because people just kind of get annoyed by the social media presence. And I feel like that, the NFL is trying to promote the game with Mahomes, but it's kind of backfired for them because people are getting annoyed. So I really hope that this season the NFL has a social media go in a different direction. It might seem like a small issue, and it is, but it's just something I want to point out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hopping into my eighth selection, I have Kyler Murray. I think he floats. I think these three guys really float between 8 or 10. I really wouldn't be mad interchanging these guys in any position, but I just think this dude. I think Kyler Murray's arm strength is very very underrated. I mean, he's got one of the best deep balls in the game. If you actually sit down and watch the games, he's got incredible placement of the ball. When you just watch him throw, it's fantastic. He just needs to work on the middle game a little bit. He's got the short game and deep game down, middle game, but he's only entering year 3, so he has so much time to improve. He's the second. He's probably unanimously the second best scrambler in the NFL at the moment. I mean, NFL players are talking about him on the top 100 list, and they're basically saying he's like one of the hardest players to go against because you think you have him 1 second, and the next thing he's across the field running for a 20-yard touchdown run. But I think his just dual threat ability really puts him in the top 10 for me, just because I think his passing's underrated, and obviously his running is people. It's just an eye test when you see it. You see how fast he is. But yeah, so he's my number 8.
Not gonna lie, when you said second, I thought you were gonna say he's a second coming like Jesus Christ or something like how people
Oh
make
my,
that
oh my
joke. I was
gosh!
like,
Oh no!
like,
Oh
hold up.
no!
Mason's a big Kyler Murray fan. The little what is that? The poster sticker on your wall of him?
Fathead.
If that, there we go. I mean, I'll say more about Kyler because he's in the top 10 for me. Who's 7?
7. I have Dak Prescott. Um,
Uh-oh.
oh, you don't like this?
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you have him in your top 5 or you don't have him in your top 10 at all, but
He's like 14 for me.
okay. I just like Dak a lot. I think the biggest thing I like about him is his leadership. I think he provides a lot to the team. Other than his football talent, I think he's a fantastic leader. He really can bring the team together. I've watched the Hard Knocks episode, and this dude he's so determined to play, and I just love to see that in the guy. And he's like a really really tough competitor. Um, he's just one of the toughest football players there is. He's literally coming back off a horrible injury. He's probably going to play week 1. He people do think he stat pads a lot, but I think it's just a fact that his defense is so horrible. He has to put up huge stats in order to even remotely win. I mean, he was on pace to throw for like 6,000 passing yards before he got injured, which he probably wouldn't have thrown for 6,000. He probably would have cooled off a little bit, but in case anyone was wondering, no one's even come close to 6,000 passing yards, and he was on pace to do that. He was absolutely phenomenal in those games he played. The defense really let him down. He really limits turnovers. He doesn't turn over the ball a lot. Sometimes he can get there is games where he can get too conservative and doesn't like to throw for the big numbers. But what I've seen last year, if he can carry that over and just stay healthy all 17 games, I see no reason why this guy isn't just an absolute stud this year.
So I'm gonna ignore the fact that you have Dak Prescott over Matthew Stafford. We're gonna ignore that. Um, the thing with Dak Prescott is like, yeah, he's a nice guy, but leadership for me is like when you get up here, you have to really look at the passing traits and ability to make plays. Like Derek Carr is a great leader, Jalen Hurts, Jameis Winston. I'm not gonna put them down in my top 10 because they don't have the football skills. Dak is almost like a better Derek Carr. They both do things well as a quarterback, but there's nothing that elevates Dak's game. He's not a scrambler. His arm is good. He's accurate, but there's nothing about him that elevates his game. You could say the same about like a Tom Brady, but Brady just has this perfectly timing down on the football field. I don't feel like Dak does. He doesn't do anything elite. And a lot of his passes last year, yes, they look cool, but a lot of them were open guys or things like that. I think it's too soon to put him in the top 10. I think if he has another year where he breaks records, I would do it, but I just think now it's way too soon. And people forget that 2 seasons ago, he was struggling a bit. So I think people need to kind of cool the brakes down on Dak Prescott because I think there's other quarterbacks that can do more of what Dak does and do it more efficiently as well.
Yeah, I get that argument, but I don't know. I just think I don't think he's very bad at anything. I think he's pretty much above average at a lot of the things that quarterbacks need to do, but it's my opinion. So I'll hop into my number six.
Well, I have a question, Mason.
Yes.
Why would you have Dak Prescott here instead of like Kirk Cousins? Because Kirk Cousins, great leader.
I mean, I would just say Prescott's proven more to me as a winner. I take that into account a little bit because Kirk Cousins, he is very talented, but Dak is a better scrambler. Dak probably has a bigger arm than him. Kirk Cousins is probably more accurate, but in terms of winning, Kirk Cousins is not known for that like whatsoever. And Dak Prescott does have some wins, but I do have Matthew Stafford up here, so that can butcher my argument. But Stafford has a lot of talent. I think
Hmm.
Dak and Kirk Cousins kind of have the same talent level, but I've seen more from Dak's won more in a couple of years than Kirk Cousins has in his 8 year career or 10 year career. And I just don't like quarterbacks that can't win against winning teams like Kirk Cousins. Now, that's just a stat. Like that's literally just a fact that he can't win against winning teams. And I think Dak has proven that. I mean, he's led to the Cowboys to multiple playoff appearances with Jason Garrett as his head coach. And I don't think Jason Garrett is like that highly coveted as a coach, clearly, as he's not a coach anymore, unless he's an offensive coordinator, but he's not a head
He's
coach
the
anymore. But
OC for the Giants, which is
yeah,
neat.
but he's not a head coach, is what I mean.
No, he's not. But I mean, Kirk, if we look at Kirk Cousins' Vikings years and Dak Prescott's years, they both have one playoff win. Dak's was against the Seahawks. Kirk Cousins was against the
But
Saints,
who's
which we
who?
could touch.
But okay, but like you look at, I get that, but I mean, Cousins has been in the league a lot longer than Dak has, and Dak's already won. Like he's been in the playoffs on the same amount of time, same amount of wins. Dak has a 13-3 record in his one of his years. I don't know.
They were fun to watch that year.
But I just don't know. I think Dak has proven more as a winner to me than Kirk Cousins has.
All right, that I can kind of see that to an extent. All right,
But I
Mason.
think Kirk Cousins is like my 12th quarterback. But I don't think
Uh,
he's like that far away. Maybe 13. I don't really know where he would be at, but he'd be somewhere floating around that.
uh,
Um, but six, no, I do not have Jared Goff in my top 13. But number six, I have Lamar Jackson.
okay,
Five and
that's why
six
I
was
have him.
okay. Five
So
and six was a little tough for me. Um, I'll say who my five is in a little bit, but I don't know how you can't have this guy in like your top six, top five quarterbacks. He was a unanimous MVP just a year ago, which I think a lot of people forget about, which is kind of like bizarre to me. He had a little bit of a down year last year, but he still made it to the playoffs, had to beat the Titans. He did lose to the Bills, I believe, but
mhm.
I think the whole Ravens team really didn't play well. It wasn't all on
Yes.
him.
As I say, yes in pain.
Yeah.
That was an ugly game. Like you had Jackson. That one, the game wasn't even funny. It was like this defensive slugfest. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. It
Definitely
was
one of my least favorite Ravens
at least Lamar
games.
got a playoff win. That's so he can finally people can
Yeah.
stop hating on him for
Mm-hmm.
that dumb stuff. But um yeah, Lamar I said Kyler's unanimously the second best scrambler. So I think unanimously the first best scrambler is Lamar Jackson. He's on pace to debatably be the best scrambler of all time. I mean, you look at him and you compare him to Michael Vick, and they just play so similar in terms of the scrambling ability. I think obviously Michael Vick has a bigger arm, but I think Lamar Jackson's more of an efficient passer. I mean, people forget he had 36 passing touchdowns and like 8 interceptions. He limits turnovers exceptionally well. He's probably right behind Rodgers and Brady when it comes to that sort of limiting turnovers, which I'd absolutely love in quarterbacks. But yeah, this dude's a 1,000-yard rusher, almost back-to-back years, which is like, how do you like? I don't even know how you stop that. It's like he'll beat you over the top with his balls sometimes, and he doesn't always have a great receiver. So yeah, he's my number 6.
I'll say more when I rank him.
Yeah.
Who's 5 for you?
Yeah, so 5 was hard for me because I kind of wanted to put Lamar here, but I have Josh Allen um, as my number 5. I really liked how I really loved how Josh Allen played last year. I was a big critic of him before this yet last year just because he wasn't a very efficient passer. He was always known for having this big arm, but he never threw for like over 300 yards in a game, which I always thought was kind of weird. But then last year, all of a sudden, he really bursted onto the scene. Really, really underrated scrambler in my opinion. He's like a bulldozer. I'm not saying he is Cam Newton, but he has Cam Newton tendencies where he kind of can run over
Mm-hmm.
people. He's not like an elusive guy like Kyler or Lamar. He's kind of like, I'm gonna like put my shoulder in you and get that first down type of player. Massive arm, probably the strongest arm in the NFL. If not, it's top 3 easily, if not the strongest. Um, but yeah, he's my number 5. He just was an absolute stud last year. But I was kind of debating between him and Lamar, but I give Allen the slight edge as of now.
I love the Cam Newton comparison. That's what I saw of him. He was like Jay Cutler, Cam Newton coming out. He just has flourished his skills so much. I'll say more when they get down, but a lot of people have him top 5, top 4, and I think that's honestly perfect for him. I do agree with Allen over Jackson. I think Jackson's a better runner, but like you said, Allen can still get it done. I think Allen is a better passer by a good amount. So yeah, I agree with that. I think that's perfect for those two.
Did you say Jay Cutler?
Yeah, with
I do, yeah,
Allen.
I like that because like the way he slings the ball, I don't know, it's just like yeah, it
When
does
he was
remind me of
coming out, I want to
yeah,
preface, not now,
no,
but when
no,
he
yeah.
was coming out, he was a lot like Cutler and Newton combined.
But,
And
but even his mechanics kind of remind me of Cutler because he has like that arm slinger kind of mechanic look as Jay Cutler has. So I actually really like that comparison. Never thought of that before. Obviously, he's probably better than Jay Cutler ever was, but you know, I like it's just a comparison.
it's funny.
Number 4.
Oh,
No, you can go.
it's funny going on a side thing here, but Bears fans really love Jake Cutler. I feel like he got too much hate. Like he was never top tier, but he was always kind of in that like mid tier range. Anyways, you can continue.
Yeah. So number 4, I have someone who was probably said the second best quarterback last year, but he's now 4 for me. I have Russell Wilson. 3 and 4 is kind of hard, kind of not really. I have Russell Wilson here. I think top 4 is kind of like I would not interchange them, but I think that's kind of concrete. I don't know if I put Allen or Lamar quite yet in the top 4. Russell Wilson, I think he'd been top 2, maybe 1 if he was on a tear the entire year. But as you know, guys know, after kind of like week 8, he kind of like he didn't fall off a cliff, but the production went down. And you definitely don't like to see that in quarterbacks, especially when you get to that top 3. The top 3 is guys who will bring it every single week, pretty much. But yeah, Russell Wilson, he's not the fastest guy, but boy, does that guy make you miss. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's just weird because like Lamar and Kyler, they look to extend the play with their passing, but mostly it's about running. Russell Wilson extends the play to throw it deep, which is insane to me. Like the fact that he can extend plays and throw 80-yard bombs, absolutely impressive. He's got a rocket of an arm. Um, I don't know if anyone remembers, but that Sunday night football game against the Cardinals, he threw a beautiful, it was like a 50-yard touchdown to Tyler Lockett. It's like right over Patrick Peterson's shoulder, right in the bucket. And I was like, dang, that's like one of the most impressive throws I have seen this past year. But yeah, it's just kind of like sad that he kind of like doesn't keep his MVP like stats throughout the whole year, and like pedigree kind of has games like that Cardinals game he threw 3 picks. He had other games he struggled, which kind of sucks for him. Even though I'm a Cardinals fan, I still like Russell Wilson a lot just because he's such a cool guy. But yeah, he's my number 4 QB.
Speaking of Sunday night game, I'm so tired of people mentioning that DK Metcalf chased down tackle when Buda Baker picked it off. I think
it was a good pick, and
It
people just
cool.
undermine it. Yeah.
Cool, but like everyone's mentioned as like the best play ever. I'm like, people tackle people after picks, and Buda Baker was slowing down. Yeah, looks any good job for DK Metcalf, for which the Eagles took him instead of Butterfingers, JJ Arcega Whiteside, but still, it's happened before. Anyways, Mason, top three, who do you have for your list?
Yeah, my number three is pretty concrete. I think my number two guys are interchangeable. Number three, I have Mr. Seven Rings, Tom Brady. Has so many rings he has to have two hands to put them on, which is absolutely absurd. But yeah, I don't know. Before this playoff run, he'd probably be four. I'd probably have Wilson at three, but then Brady after that playoff run, I'm like, there's no way I can't have this guy top three. He is so good. It really amazes me every time I watch him. Like, I'm not even a Tom Brady fan. I really don't even like the guy, but it's a blessing to watch him play football, honestly.
Mhm.
Like, you just gotta appreciate him while you can. If you're hating on him, I don't know if you should do that. You just gotta appreciate it, because when he's gone, I think people are gonna like miss him, because he's the best winner in football and maybe sports of all time. He's just that good. He's so efficient with the ball. He has games where he turns over the ball a lot, but then he also has games where he's super efficient. It's like, oh, how do I stop this guy? And I think him with the Buccaneers, it was really weird at first when he signed there. I was like, well, that's kind of weird, but like I really love the fit now. It's just like,
Tampa Bay.
yeah, he just seems like a whole different person. I don't know. He kind of like seemed like a quiet, not really open person in New England. Now he seems like a really fun like dad almost. Like, I don't know if there's it's a good way to describe it, but he's like kind of like a cool, fun dad vibe, because he's like older than everyone else. But yeah, I just really love him at three. I think he's a fantastic quarterback, and he's at 44, which is absurd to me.
Who do you have for one and two, Mason? Is it Mahomes, Rodgers, Mahomes?
So
Is it Jared Goff, then
my
Patrick
number one
Mahomes?
quarterback, yeah, I'll say number one, because my number one quarterback is Drew Lock. No, I'm kidding, but um, my number one. This was like really hard for me. I have to give it to Rodgers for my number one quarterback. It was pretty tough. I think it really goes week by week. I think Mahomes and Rodgers are gonna this year. It's gonna be like, Mahomes is the number one quarterback. Then 2 weeks later, I'm like, okay, Rodgers is the number one quarterback. But as of now, gonna go with the MVP of the league. He's just so good. I mean, again, watching him play is like a blessing. You gotta appreciate him while you can. He's getting up there in age. He won't be around forever. Um, and you really just have to appreciate him while he's still playing at such a high level. He threw like 5 interceptions and 45 touchdowns or something crazy like that last year, which
Mm-hmm.
is, it's like, how do you even do that? Like, you want to talk about limiting turnovers? He is by far the best quarterback of all time to limit interceptions, and he has like the highest touchdown interception ratio of all time, and I think it's by a good mile. He is so good. Last year, he wasn't like that amazing. It was still Rodgers, but not like the Rodgers we knew. And the Packers drafted Jordan Love, and he's like, all right, I'm going back to 2012 Aaron Rodgers. And he absolutely
Yeah.
killed it. But talking about Mahomes, um, yeah, Mahomes is also amazing. I could easily have him as one, two. It's very hard for me between those guys, because they play very similar, just amazing, beautiful throws right in the money. Mahomes struggled in the Super Bowl pretty bad, but then again, it's that the offense really let him down. There were so many times where like there was just a ton of drop passes. Offensive line was horrible, but still an amazing player nonetheless. Expect him to have probably a 5,000 yard, 40 touchdown season if he stays healthy. He's pretty good at limiting turnovers too. I think Rodgers is definitely better at it, just because Mahomes, he gets kind of lucky sometimes. Not to say his whole career is lucky, but like a lot of people drop his interceptions. He had like the most drop picks in the league this past year, but yeah, it's my one and two.
Mason, do you have 13, 14, and 15 decided? So we have Baker 11. Do you have 13, 14, 15 real quick? If you don't, that's fine.
13, I'd probably have like a Carson Wentz. I know a lot of people aren't high on him. I
Okay.
am. I like him a
I
lot.
like the faith and wins. Who do
I
you have
don't
at
know.
$14?
I think a lot of people hate on him for no reason, but yeah, he'd probably be my 13. 14, I'd probably go Derek Carr. He's just actually no, I'd take that back. My 13 would be Tannehill. My
Okay.
14 would be Wentz, and then my 15 would be Carr. I like that.
All right. So yeah, Mason's 1 through 15. We have Rodgers, Mahomes, Brady, Wilson, Allen, Jackson, Prescott, Murray, Stafford, Herbert, Mayfield, Cousins, Tannehill, Wentz, and Derek Carr. I will say this: Carson Wentz played like absolute trash last season. I hope he bounces back. Derek Carr, he has a nice smile. All right, everyone. My top 10 quarterbacks. I'm going to do the reverse of Mason. I'm going to go 1 through 15, really 1 through 10. But starting off at number one, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers for me. Rodgers was just on another level last season. The thing I love, not only did he make all the throws he wanted to, but he was really mobile on the run too. He had a lot of nice plays where he just keeps the play alive. And I feel like a lot of his passes it just were super on touch. He was league MVP for a reason. Um, he was just someone who his ability to make quick decisions while on the run is super impressive because not only trying to avoid, but you also are throwing these beautiful passes while you're getting chased down. So I just thought he was really impressive. He really took command of the offense and he made that offense work. Yes, Devonta Adams is top tier, but you have and Aaron Jones is nice, but you don't really have that many other players. Robert Tonyan is nice, but I feel like he really orchestrated the offense. Rodgers for me is like the best of Mahomes and Brady right now. He has Brady's command in the offense and Mahomes' big playability. Can he repeat it? I think he will regress, but I think he'll still be like a top 10 quarterback, probably top five. We kind of saw it after Mahomes and Jackson's MVP season. They just regress a bit, and I think that'll happen. I'm excited to see Rodgers this year. You have some fun games on the schedule: the Ravens, the Browns, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Rams. So it'll be fun to see him. Number two, oh, I don't know what happened with the voice crack there. Number two, I have Tom Brady of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Um, Here's a deal. As Mason's face, if y'all seen the YouTube version, does not look too pleased with that. Here's a deal. The way Tom Brady played last season, not only in the postseason, that was top tier incredible. That's kind of for me his defining moment. Like you have every legend has their defining moment. For me, that postseason run was like Brady's run for me. But his command of the field is excellent. His precision is the best in the NFL, and his knowledge of the game is what's great. He looks on the field, he knows what's going on, and he'll make the best decision every single time, whether that's a completion, whether that's throwing away to avoid a sack. He's always someone who I feel like is aware of the field. And yes, he has a lot of talent, but he orchestrates it so well. And I feel like there are a lot of big moments last season in Green Bay, the Super Bowl, New Orleans, even against Washington, that defense where he stepped up time after time again. What makes him number two for me is that he started off maybe around number eight. He had those games against the Bears. You're like, oof, this is not too good, but he stepped it up and he got comfortable. And for me, I think that this season we could see peak Tom Brady. He's my pick for MVP, having that command of that offense. He's number two. Then I'll go number three, and then Mason, I can let you speak. I have Patrick Mahomes. Now, Mahomes is still awesome. I'm going to talk more negative about Mahomes because I want to explain why I have him at three instead of two or one. Well, I think Rodgers is one because he won MVP, but Mahomes kind of had some down games last season. There were some games against like the Dolphins. We had a couple picks. Yes, he came back and won, but I just felt like he was a lot more rusty in games. The Dolphins, the Falcons games really kind of come to mind. The Panthers games. I feel like Mahomes just struggled a bit more than Brady and Rodgers did. I just love how I'm looking over and seeing Mason's stern face. Oh, this man's not having it. But I don't know. I just feel like that Tom Brady was a better decision maker, and I'm someone who likes consistency more in the NFL and decision making. Mahomes is still excellent, but I just thought he dropped off a bit this past season. Mason, what do you think? What do you think about that?
No, I don't know what my face was saying, but I don't really think it's that crazy of a take. But no, I get what you're saying that Brady is like more poised. I think you were trying to like go for he's more poised and more
Yeah,
aware of what's going on, which I totally get because Mahomes does can. He tries to play hero ball a little too much, I think, because sometimes he
mhm,
has to and it just doesn't work out instead of trusting his guys. So I totally get what you're saying. But I do think every quarterback does have their off games. I mean, I think Rodgers' worst game was worse than Mahomes' worst game because I think Rodgers against the Buccaneers was by far worse than any
Mm,
game Mahomes was having this past year. Not in the playoffs, by the
oh,
Rodgers and the
yeah.
regular season when they got absolutely killed. But
Well, both
I
teams got smothered by Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, ironically, because the
yeah,
Super
in
Bowl was
Tampa
there.
Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to think about because like Mahomes killed them the first game, and then he struggled in the Super Bowl. Well, I guess he didn't really struggle. His team struggled in the Super Bowl pretty much every single aspect. Um,
Well, this is another point I want to bring up too. Thank you for mentioning this, Mason. So, like Tom Brady went up against the Saints 3 times this season. The first 2 times, it was an ugly loss. He meets them in the playoffs in New Orleans, and he makes the adjustments needed. That's just, I think, displays Brady's greatness. He's just very smart and technical in the staying in the field. You can continue your point, but that game was really impressive. People kind of talk about the Super Bowl winning at home, Rodgers versus Brady, but I feel like this that Saints game it was not the most interesting game, I'll admit. But I feel like the fact that Brady was able to step up and win that game, I think for me was just really impressive.
no, yeah, I think that's a good point because the Saints overall like killed them in the regular season, but a big part
Mm-hmm.
of that was their offense, the Buccaneers offense, not really getting anything done. And I think that's why the Buccaneers are probably might go back to back is just because they're such a good team. But anyways, like you were saying, yeah, Tom Brady made the adjustments in this the was it the divisional
Divisional
round?
round,
Yeah,
yeah.
the divisional round. And I know this is a quarterback video, but that's another thing why I think the Buccaneers defense is so great because basically how you're saying about Tom Brady, the Mahomes absolutely killed that Buccaneers defense, and the Chiefs offense killed the Buccaneers defense, and then the Super Bowl is pretty much the other way around. But yeah, I really like that point with Tom Brady and the Saints.
Yeah. Next up we have 4 and 5. For me, it's really close between Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. I'm gonna go Russell Wilson over Josh Allen. Not a lot to say here. Wilson's just one of the best deep ball throwers. I know he peaked or he dipped a bit in the second half of the season, but I think people over exaggerating a bit. It wasn't like he was playing terrible. I just think overall the Seahawks, they were a team that was just inconsistent. They had a fantastic offense and terrible defense in the first half. Then they had a pretty nice defense, but a sluggish offense. And I just feel like that's the word I'll describe Wilson. I think people sometimes over exaggerate, but when he was in his prime the first couple of weeks, I mean, he was MVP level. His mobility, he's one of the most mobile quarterbacks. I feel like he's very efficient with his legs. I would say Lamar Jackson by far is the better runner, but I feel like Wilson is the more efficient scrambler, if that makes sense. I just like Wilson really runs very wise. His deep ball is one of the best. So I have him at 4. Josh Allen have 5. I just want to see another year. I've been a big Josh Allen fan. I feel like he has a really good release. He was able to throw very good timing routes. I look at that Bills 49ers game, Monday Night Football, and I just remember like Allen was throwing these dots like left and right. I'm like, wow. So people often forget in the Bills Cardinals game that before the DeAndre Hopkins game winning catch, Allen threw that beautiful pass to Stephon Diggs, and just the release of Allen is one of the best. I think he's also very good in the pocket. He's a great pocket mover. So yeah, those are for me the top 5. And then number 6, I'm gonna go for Lamar Jackson. Now, as a Ravens fan, when Lamar Jackson's hot, he's hot. He's just running, making people miss. But the thing is with Lamar is that he does that more against bad teams and good teams. I feel like whenever there's a bad team, whether it be the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Ravens had an easier schedule last year. Like my thing is, and I mentioned this a lot last season, is like, yeah, you can beat up on like the Giants and Jaguars last season. Cool, good for you, congrats. But when it comes to tougher opponents, Lamar struggled. The only game where I feel like you really kind of saw him come into his element was that Browns Ravens game, which I'm actually not that. I thought it was a good game. I think it's getting very overhyped. People are calling it one of the best games ever. As a Ravens fan, I was happy, but I don't know. I felt like that game liked it, but not as I don't think it was great as people saying. But I just want to see Lamar come into moments a bit more. We saw that a glimpse when he beat the Titans, but I just want to see it more. I also think that yes, he's very efficient in the red zone. Um, but I want to see him stretch the field down more and hopefully if the targets he'll come in. Mason, I know this has been a very similar list, but do you have anything to add with these rankings so far?
No, yes, our 4 through 6 is the same, and I think we have very similar points. But I do like your point that Lamar does beat up on weaker teams. I really hope he gets over the hump of beating like because like they play the Chiefs again, which I don't know how that happens. They play them every year, but maybe Lamar finally gets his revenge because Mahomes kind of like is like 3-0 against him, I believe. But yeah, I'm a big Lamar fan, so I just really want to see this guy like win. I want to see him win a Super Bowl so bad. So yeah, I'm really rooting for him this year.
Yeah, me too. 7, we have Ryan Tannehill. I feel like in this world, you're either a Tannehill fan or you're not. I am. I don't get why people do not consider him a top QB. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks. He's very smart. He's someone who I feel like always plays in a rhythm. And he just really executes an offense well. He's kind of similar to Tom Brady in that sense. Brady's obviously better, but we've seen kind of Tannehill be more in those clutch moments. And people say he has Derrick Henry, but then again, we saw Marcus Mariota with Derrick Henry. Again, Henry did not break out that moment, but a lot of or a good amount of success has to do with Ryan Tannehill. He's one of the more efficient quarterbacks in the game, especially off of play action. That's where the game's moving to. I feel like that the NFL is adapting to the outside power stretch, play action game where you hand it off. Whoever maybe the Vikings with Dalvin Cook, times with Derrick Henry, um, you get about 4 or 5 yards and you set up a play action play and it works beautifully. We're seeing that in the NFL. I think Ryan Tannehill executes that really well. If he was mobile, he would probably be up there in all honesty, but he is not. So he will be 7. Mason, do you have anything to say about that?
No, I actually don't mind that at all. I think that's a honestly, Ryan Tannehill's weird for me. Like if you put him in the top 10, I'm like, I kind of like that. And if you don't, I'm like, it's not a big deal to me. I think I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate because people just say hands off the ball, which he probably did the first couple games, but then after that, he really proved that like he is still a very not. He proved that he is a good passer because he didn't do that in Miami because of Adam Gase, horrible coach by the way. Anyways, Ryan Tannehill ever since he left the Dolphins and went to the Titans, been an absolute stud. Very efficient passer, doesn't really turn
He
over the ball that
is.
much. I would just like, I don't know. I would have him top 10. I just need to see maybe a little bit more from him, which is kind of weird to say. He had that one run in the playoffs, but I think Derrick Henry really did carry that playoff run. I mean, he was putting up ridiculous stats and numbers. Last year, that whole Titans offense struggled against the Ravens, and I think I didn't put him in my top 10 because I do think he's a great passer, but you saw Derrick Henry kind of get shut down in those Chiefs and the Chief AFC Championship game, and then they get Ravens even shut him down a little bit. And then you didn't really see Tannehill kind of take like a huge leap. I feel like in order for Tannehill to play good, the whole offense kind of needs to be in cylinder, which is nothing against him because I feel like a lot of quarterbacks need that. Like Brady, I feel like kind of needs that some games. Like you said, if the system fits him, he's going to play well. But yeah, I have no problem with him at 7.
I feel like I view Ryan Tannehill the way you view Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I know. I respect you because like I think
That I feel like
Tannehill.
we both have similar points. Like what you said about Dak is what I said about Ryan Tannehill. The
Yeah,
difference
I
is,
think.
yeah, the difference
Oh, you
is
can go.
Tannehill's been to a championship game. Prescott has not anyway.
Yeah, I
Um,
get that.
so what I'm trying to say is I feel like the way you feel about Prescott is the way I feel about Tannehill. I just feel like Ryan Tannehill, like the ball release, everything's great. Derrick Henry, I mean, when he gets shut down, like I said, a lot of the NFL runs the play action offense. It's a vital part. Like if you're a defense, if you're not getting a pass rush, the secondary is probably going to struggle because you need both things to work together. But um, I do see what you mean. All right, so number 9, I'm gonna skip ahead a bit, is Kyle Murray.
I think you
So
mean your number 8, right?
yeah, so for
Okay.
me, I'm besides Stafford and Herbert. One's 8, one's 10. I'm gonna put Justin Herbert number 10 and Matthew Stafford number 8. So it's gonna go Stafford 8, Murray 9, Herbert 10. Stafford 8, he's has one of the best arms. He has won a lot of games on a bad organization. I'm excited to see him on the Sean McVay offense. Stafford is someone who is just, I feel like, also a great person. He's been on some bad teams. He's always battled through it. And yes, his stats aren't mind blowing last season, but he had a couple nice wins. And I feel like that people are going to really realize Stafford. He's starting to get more respect here with him on a new team. But for me, he's someone who he just can like play really great. He had that game against the Cardinals last season where he like went off and he has those moments, and I feel like that'll be seen more. Another thing with Stafford is that you could put him in front of Ryan Tannehill. I just it's tough. I just like Tannehill a bit more, but Stafford's not had a running game for a couple of seasons, and he's very much someone who still accomplishes. So Stafford's 8, Murray's 9. I love his ability to scramble. His deep ball's great. There's just moments where I feel like Murray needs to slow down and understand the game more. There are times where I feel like over the middle of the field, maybe even on outside routes, where the release just needs to be a bit sooner, or he misreads a play. I feel like that's something I still want to see a bit more from Murray. I feel like a lot of people, and Mason, you have him around this area because he's someone who I love what I see. I just need to see more. And then Justin Herbert 10, he had those big plays his rookie years, some inconsistency, but that's expected to be seen. So that's the top 10. Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes, Wilson, Allen, Jackson, Tannehill, Stafford, Murray, Herbert. If I had to do 11 through 15, I'll probably go Baker Mayfield at 11. Just the way the NFL is going with the RPO play action system, Mayfield fits it perfectly. His vision over the field is fantastic, and I feel like he has a really nice deep ball as well. 12, I'll go Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is just one of the most efficient passers. He's up there for yards, and I think for touchdowns for NFL history. He's definitely, I think, in the top 10 for passing yards. He's just someone like when you look at a model of consistency, he's there. He did dip down a bit last season, but I still think 12 for him is a good spot. We got my boy Kirk Cousins. He's a great leader, fits that RPO play action scheme. Just someone who sees the field very well. I think Baker's better than Cousins because I think Baker's more athletic than Cousins, but they're both, for me, very similar. 14 for me is going to be Joe Burrow. Before his injury, he was playing great. He's someone who adapts to the game really well. If he needs to throw a high point ball, he will. If he needs to throw it lower, he will. And then 15, I'll go Dak Prescott. Like I said, he does everything well, just nothing exceptional. So that's why I have 1 through 15. Also, both of us, we did not include Deshaun Watson. Mason, what do you think of the way my list ended up?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think the cool thing about these lists is like top tens are can kind of be similar, obviously, because like ours is not very far apart in a lot of ways. But I think when you get it to like the 11 through 15, it's like there's a lot of quarterbacks you can throw in there, which I like to see. I like to see your viewpoint on other quarterbacks that I wouldn't like necessarily look at. So I think it's pretty cool because like 11 through 15 and stuff like that is way different from like it'll be different across the board from everyone else's. Some people might have freaking let me look, uh,
Big
Jameis
Ben.
Winston in their top 15, and then I'm like I don't know, and then they give me some good points. I'm like okay, if he didn't throw 30 picks, maybe, but wait, I like it a lot.
What quarterback are you excited to see most this season? I like yours a lot too. I like both of our lists. I think they turned out
Um,
well.
Quarterback I'm most excited to watch this year. Uh, I won't say Lawrence or Kyler because it's pretty biased. I'm a big fan of both those guys, so I'll probably go Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
I like watching all the big name quarterbacks, of course, but I kind of know what I'm getting from them. I think Jalen Hurts could either plateau a little bit and not improve a lot, or he could break out and become an absolute stud. So I'm really rooting for him though. But I'm really excited to watch him just because I think I don't know. I feel like the Eagles are just a weird team this year. They have a lot of talent, but they also have a lot of holes that need to be filled. But yeah, I just love watching Jalen Hurts play, so I want to watch him more.
Yeah, I'm excited for staying in the NFC East. Daniel Jones. I feel like he has a talent. It's time for him to rise up. Jones is interesting because what he does well, he does well. He just needs issues with turnovers. I'm also excited for Sam Darnold in the new situation. Him and Robbie Anderson seem to be going off. I'm really interested to see how Tua does too. I was kind of a Tua supporter last season, but I don't know now. I feel like Tua. I don't know. He had some great moments, like that Cardinals game. He was great. I just need to see more from him. Um,
He kind of reminds me like a Teddy Bridgewater almost, where he's not like elite at anything and he's a little conservative too many like times. I don't know.
Tua though makes risky decisions, like and his deep ball accuracy is not the
Mhm.
best. I'm excited for Teddy with Denver. I feel like that's a good option. Let the defense play. We can talk about that here real quick. I like Teddy starting in Denver because that Broncos defense is elite. If you have Drew Lock, he's going to turn the ball over. It's just like give Teddy the time, and he's a smart guy. I thought he played better in Carolina than people thought. The Panthers were young team last year. We saw how Teddy did with the Saints a couple years prior. I'm excited for him in Denver. I think he'll play nice. He has some great offensive weapons. And I feel like, the Saints had a great defense when he played with them 2 years ago. He won games. I feel like the same could happen with Denver. Mason, are you a fan? I
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like it. I like how they started Teddy because I think it's easier to if Teddy sucks, you can go to Drew Lock. I feel like that's an easier transition than Drew Lock sucking and then going to Teddy. I don't know because that's just I don't know. I feel like Drew Lock, if the Broncos really suck to start the year and they want to go Drew Lock, I think Drew Lock can bring that excitement. But if the Broncos suck with Drew Lock in the beginning and then they go to Teddy, it's not like I mean Teddy's a good player, but he doesn't bring like an excitement factor like Drew Lock does because he just has Drew Lock has a very talented arm. Not the best decisions, obviously, but he does have a talented arm.
yeah.
But I do like the Teddy fit. Yeah, I think he's got plenty of weapons. I really hope Judy takes a big step this year. Amazing route runner, just
Yeah.
needs to get better consistently.
He was a
Cortland
bit
Sutton's
disappointing
back.
last season. Judy was. Yeah, I love Portland Sun.
Yeah, Cortland Sutton's back. Noah Fant, I think he's a solid tight end. Nothing crazy, but definitely a solid. And then they drafted Javante Williams, I think his
Williams,
last name
yeah.
is. Yeah, I'm excited to watch him play. But no, and then a great defense. So Broncos are an interesting team. I think they could maybe break into the playoffs with that defense. It'll really just be up to Teddy and if Drew Lock plays.
I'm not the biggest Vic Fangio fan. I think he calls games fine. I just don't think he elevates his talent. Like Bradley Chubb,
Mhm.
I think with the correct coach would be like an 8+ sack player, but he's not. So I like all the QB battle decisions so far. Mac Jones, getting to start Winston, Teddy. I would go for San Francisco. That's really the only other one. I would go. That's a tough one. I would go probably Garoppolo
Yeah, I
because
would
Trey
too.
Lance, I like him, but he's just still so raw. He needs to develop. He's made some nice plays in the preseason. He's also missed some
Yeah.
throws. So I don't think there's anything else to say. Um, I think the big years for people, Carson Wentz, he needs to prove. If not, I think he's done. Um,
What do
I'm
you think? But
interested.
you think it's a make or break year for Danny Dimes?
I don't think so. This will only be his third season. I think you give him to his contract year and see how he plays.
Okay. What
Because
about Darnold?
Darnold, I really like. He's still young. Keep him in Carolina for
Mm,
about 2 years. The Panthers are a young team. Yeah, Brian Burns, Jeremy Ching,
mm,
DJ Moore is still young. Like I don't think you rush Sam Darnold. The Panthers are not a contender. I think if Darnold works out, he grows with the team. I like Darnold. I don't think this is a one and done season. Even if the Panthers like pick top five draft another position of need. I don't think they should go quarterback. I think the teams that need quarterback, I think the Lions could. I'm a big fan of the Raiders hopefully drafting someone. Derek Carr's a great guy, but I don't know. I just feel like he doesn't really elevate the team, and I'm not the biggest fan of him. Um, I could also see a case if Jalen Hurts doesn't pan out this season, Eagles draft someone. I hope they don't, but I could see that. Um, I'm interested to see what happens with the Steelers with Big Ben this year. Where are you leaning towards that, Mason?
Big, I don't know. I think he's probably just gonna throw like a 300-yard passing game and have like three picks to go along with it. I don't know. I really want the Steelers to like draft someone that's not named Mason Rudolph and just like I mean they have Dwayne Haskins, but I don't know if Dwayne Haskins is really the successor to Big Ben because
Brock Purdy be great
I don't
there.
know. Is he did he get drafted there or is he in the NFL or the college still?
He's in college. He's at Iowa State
Okay.
this year. He's mobile. He would be different
Yeah.
guy than Big Ben.
Yeah, like Haskins played good in the preseason, but I just do not like his character at all, and his work ethic seems to really suck. He kind of reminds me of like a better Jamarcus Russell, if you guys know who that is. I think there's too many off the field antics, and I know it's not like he did anything illegal, but like just like taking a selfie with a fan when your game's still going on, that just rubs me the wrong way. It's like focus on your team and then focus on the fans, finish the game, and then this whole strip club incident where he went to a strip club instead of going to practice or something like that. It just rubs me the wrong way. Big
Yeah.
Ben though, I think he's still a quality quarterback. I don't think he's horrible.
He was better last year than people say. He had some down games for sure, but he
Yeah.
showed it. He's kind of the level of Wentz with that potential. Dwayne
Mhm.
Haskins is interesting because I feel like he needs to tone down his ego. I follow him on social media. Was he with the Steelers and he's like he got signed there, he's like grateful. I'm like, that's good. But there's times where I feel like he needs to tone it down a bit. I feel like that he's someone who is getting another chance and hopefully he uses it wisely. I remember though, it was so funny that draft class. People were torching the Giants for taking Daniel Jones over Dwayne Haskins, and now it's like Daniel Jones is still there. Like, I don't know if you remember this, Mason, but people were furious, like
Yeah, I thought
furious.
Dwayne Haskins was going to be a Giant for a long time. And
Yeah,
Giants fans are very upset about them not getting Haskins.
yeah, it was like a big deal. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I don't think there is. I think that
I
we have.
mean, the one thing I would say is where do you think Cam Newton's going to go?
I think he's going to remain unsigned, and I think when a team gets a quarterback hurt, I think
Hmm.
he'll sign. If I'm them, I'm going with Seattle. The thing that bothers me about the Seahawks is they're so boring to watch in preseason because all their backup quarterbacks
Geno
are
Smith.
pocket passers, minus Geno Smith. I don't think Geno Smith is there.
Yeah, he's still the backup there.
Oh, he is. All right, never
Yeah.
mind what I said.
He's not
But
good though. I get what you mean though. He's not fun to watch though. Like Geno
if
Smith is not like a crazy
if
scrambler. I get what you
I would
mean.
get another scrambling quarterback. I know Geno Smith is kind of a scrambler, but I would go get like a what was that one
Mhm.
guy, Tyree Jackson? Like just get a
Oh yeah,
young
he got moved to tight end, bro. That
for
was
the Eagles. Yeah. But
yeah.
if I'm them, I'm just getting I'm getting a young quarterback who's can scramble
Mhm.
and have him learn behind Wilson. But I don't know. Cam, I'm trying to think all the
I I
divisions.
have I have one where it's like I like your thing where it's like he won't sign until like someone needs him, and I think that team, if Ryan Fitzpatrick sucks, I think Ron
Mm,
Rivera might look at Cam Newton and
ooh,
be like, I like because obviously Ron Rivera and Cam Newton have like a very good relationship. That's when Rivera won Coach of the Year and Cam won MVP. Obviously, won't be the same, but even Rivera acknowledged Cam Newton got cut. So I kind of like because they're like it popped up on our radar, but Fitzpatrick's our guy, which is obviously the case for now. But say Fitzpatrick somehow sucks, not out or gets injured, not out of this realm that they go ahead and get Newton.
I keep saying this. People overreacting to Taylor Heineke. He had one great game. Yes, the Buccaneers defense was great, but it's one game. I've seen my time where Eddie, like running backs, like Eddie Lacy break out and they're quiet. Okay, you need consistency. I could see also a thing with the Falcons where Matt Ryan, he could get traded to another team after this season. I kind of wish he did. Just go in the rebuild. The Falcons have no defense. Get picks for the defense or the offense. I don't know. I feels weird because like Julio's not there, but Matt Ryan is. It's like either go full rebuild or don't. The in between thing is weird. I also wish they picked the quarterback higher than they did. They signed Felipe Franks
Yes,
in
sir.
the undrafted offseason. But I would have taken someone like Kyle Trask would have been great there, who looked pretty bad in preseason for Tampa Bay, but I don't know. Yeah, that I Shaq Elliott had like 3 picks. I'm like, oh
Yeah, I'm not a big Kyle Trask guy.
yeah. A lot of the rookie quarterbacks later looked. Kellen Mond, oof, he did not look too
Yeah,
great. He looked like I was not
yeah.
a fan, but he looked a lot worse than I thought. I'm like, oh no.
Davis Mills looked okay for the Texans, nothing spectacular.
Oh, Davis. It's like the thing. It's like get someone who's like a scrambling guy. That's what the NFL is going. Like
Hmm.
Davis Mills is so bland. Um, the Texans. We didn't mention Deshaun Watson at all, but I don't know. Apparently, he's not going to get traded. He's just going to sit on the bench. I think that the Texans, if they had a better defense, I actually think they could be a playoff team. I know this sounds crazy, but listen to me. The Texans, if they had a great defense, Tyler Taylor took the Bills to the playoffs a couple of years ago. He still has some juices in him. Unfortunately, they don't have a defense, so I think they'll win. I don't think the Texans are gonna like be a terrible team. I think they might win like 4 games, but I think they'll be in it more than people think.
Yeah, I don't know. That defense is atrocious, so there's just no shot. But yeah,
Mason,
I get what you're saying though.
what do you think of Jared Goff with the Lions?
Goofball. Um, I don't know. I think he could either play good for him or he could absolutely suck because he doesn't have McVay anymore. But then again, like he has no weapons really. I mean, his number one receiver is Tyrell Williams, who I think is a fine number
I
two.
liked him with the Chargers a
Yeah.
couple years back.
Yeah, I think he's a fine number two, number three, but the past couple of years have shown he's really not played that well. And for him to be your number one is kind of concerning, especially when you're going from Robert Woods and Cooper Cup to Tyrell Williams. And I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he'll be decent for him. TJ Hawkinson, I think, will have a really big year
Oh
because he's
yeah, I'm
like
high on him in
he,
fantasy.
yeah, he's like the only like target on the Lions team. So I think he's gonna have a breakout year probably.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think the Lions will be that good just because there's just too many holes and a lot of new chemistry building that needs to happen because they're not gonna it's pretty much like a whole new roster on offense for the most part. So I think they're gonna have to get used to each other.
I could see them being in some games because of the coaching, but I think they could also be the victim of some blowouts just with the holes they have. It's just kind of how the NFL rolls. There's a lot of interesting backup QBs like Mariota, Trubisky, Minshew. Just interesting to see the NFL, but whenever happens, we'll cover. Thank y'all for watching. First episode out in a while. We'll be doing more. I don't know if we'll be doing weekly recaps. I tried that last year. It's just kind of like by week 6, I feel like we're kind of repeating. So maybe we could do different stuff, but with the new season coming up, expect a lot of content. It'll be fun. And take care, everyone. Mason, thanks for joining me and have a good one, everyone.